Hello, namaste, good evening, sat sri akal. I'm your host and moderator, S.S. Chandhok. Welcome to the next episode of the S.S. Chandhok Talk Show. As we know, we gather over here with the eminent people and eminent guests, the eminent educationists from all the parts of India to talk about something fruitful. As we know, we have gathered here today to talk about the importance of reading. So, here, without wasting any time, I will introduce you to the first eminent guest, that is Mrs. Pratima Sinha. She holds the position of Chief Executive Officer at DSR Education Society, Hyderabad. The society has 7 schools named Birla Open Mind International and preschools in Hyderabad. She is a postgraduate in education with diploma in early childhood education and business English. Many new initiatives have been initiated under her leadership. She has headed schools with CBSC, ICSC, Cambridge, and IB programs. She has also held the position of regional academic head with Pearson Education. She is an EDXL Pearson teacher training certified trainer. All the organizations that she has joined, she with her clear vision raised the bar of work environment. She is on the advisory board of organizations like IECS and ISLI, Next Education, and EdSense. She had been invited as a speaker to various national and international forums and conferences. She has also been recognized and awarded by various organizations for her in the depth work in the field of education. She has published many articles in the educational magazines, which have been highly appreciated, and is a blogger. Her career graph showcases more than 3 decades of progressive quantitative experience across a wide gamut of functions like classroom teaching, academic audit, curriculum development and planning, teachers, training, mentoring and monitoring, school operation and finances, setting up and managing schools. She has done extensive research and developed many modules in teaching pedagogy and English enhancement program for adults. Her passion for performing art has led her to be a member of Nishwambita Theatre Group, where she has played many pivotal roles. She is right now working and researching on correlating life skills with theatre and benefit of theatre on autistic children. Good evening and welcome to you, Pratima ma'am. And we are very honored and pleased that you are over here. Ma'am, I will just like to know about the other things. First of all, like to know about this theatre work. I mean, how you're associated and how this interest is might be from the very beginning. Please tell us about this. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandok. Um and good evening, all the panelists here. And I could, when we were sitting together and discussing, we could make out that, everybody is from different parts of the country. And it was lovely discussing about the rainfall and the school opening and all these things. So yes, my passion for theater has been right from the school time. And I remember I used to get every year the Best Actors Award. But somewhere, after we get married and things like that, the passion is moved to one side. But later on in my life, I started again theater. And now we are actually in the education line. We are talking about theater, the performing arts as a major part of the curriculum, a very important part of the curriculum, where everybody is saying that theater should be actually integrated with the academics. So that is of course part of it, but also theater is actually used for children who have autistic, to relate with them, to connect with them, and to deal with their learning disabilities. So it is actually really happening. In fact, I had introduced it in my previous school where I was working. There is a diploma which is there for theater with autism, for autism. So we had introduced that, and I could see a major difference in the students who were actually autistic. And I know for sure that every school has at least 3 to 4 students who have autism, who are suffering from autism, and we need to identify them and give them this kind of opportunity. So theater has been very closely associated with me. even when I was a teacher, I used to actually bring a lot of theater, drama, role plays into my classroom. And I'm talking about the 19s, but now it is, it is really, really happening and is being spoken about and it is being discussed about. And a lot of schools have adopted theater as part of their curriculum.
That's great, ma'am. That's great. Music, dance, and music is something that everybody, you get freshen up when you listen to the music. When you dance, even you're not knowing dancing when you're going to marriages. When you are dancing over there, you don't know any step. You are dancing for 2 hours, 3 hours regularly. You enjoy that, and the freshness of mind, everything comes into the frustration is being removed of everyone from a child to a elderly person also. And it is very good that you don't have any age for learning or doing anything. And ma'am, you're doing so good thing that you introduced this, because NEP also says that so many things have to be introduced. It should be according to the interest of the kids that is there. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next guest, we have Dr. Raminder Palkor. She has been in the education fraternity for more than 20 years. She is driven by the feeling to provide utmost perfection in her work, which was inherited from her mother, who served as a vice principal herself, and her father, who served as an Air Force officer, should be credited for incorporating high determination in her. Due to these qualities, she has been awarded with several awards, many awards she had told about. And I'm saying sorry to everyone in advance that so many awards you people have received from national and international levels, as well as you're associated with so many associations. It will take so much time to introduce that. I'm so sorry. Uh, the world around her inspires her to pen down her feelings onto her own diary, and she writes. She's a writer. As a poetess and a writer, the main purpose of her writing is to throw light upon the serious matters of the world, which sometimes are overlooked by others, so that it would propel them to ponder over it. Her writings are driven by her strong feelings and due the impact. Her poems and articles have been published multiple of times, and if you would ask her what influences her to write her heart out, she would quote the Edward Buller's Lytton's famous saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. That's great saying. That's a very great saying. It just came into my mind. Somebody commented on media that what are the principles, these principles doing, whichever you are inviting with this for the society. So I didn't answer anything. I think I don't have to speak about anything. You have to observe that whatever we are doing it, and especially during this pandemic, not only pandemic, whatever we are creating the future of the kids, we are doing. If we are writing, if suppose Pratima ma'am said that she is talking about those children who are not able to, making them interested towards dancing or anything else, like ma'am is writing poetry or anything, and she's talking about different things. So we are trying to reform the society. The society is only reforming just because of the educationists like you all or us. We don't have to prove. We are also warriors. You see the soldiers, they are fighting. They are at the borders. They are saving us. Inside, we are saving, because education is not there. The education is, or the heads are not over there. The society will not be like this, whatever it is right now. So we don't know how. We don't have to prove that how good we are. We are doing it just because our interest, just because many principles are doing it. So coming back to you, Ramanda ma'am, welcome to you. And how did this interest regarding writing came into you? You told me that your father was in Air Force and ma'am was also into education. So how did you get inspired for writing? Over to you.
I am mother of two kids, and in 2018, my son went to Canada, and I became very gloomy, and I was very sad. And what to do? You can't share your things with others. So I took shelter of pen. I wrote first blog, and which is on brain drain. And sometimes too much sentiments propel you to write something. So the first blog was written for my son, and it was through a mother whose son has gone very far away. So this feeling was inside me that I am very far away from my son and I should write something. First blog was written, then I started writing poems. Whenever I saw anything bad in the past, pandemic hit me hard also. I saw many deaths nearby. So all the emotions, all the pain I wanted to share with the world. So that's why I choose writing, because I think pen is mightier than the sword.
That's great, ma'am. That's great of you. Uh, that's welcome, ma'am. Welcome to you. Next guest we have is Mrs. Pradeep Kaur. She's the principal of Shri Harshad C. Walia International School, that is Center for Creative Learning, Andheri West, Mumbai. Ma'am is a dynamic educationist and leader with an enriching experience in institutions based in various parts of the country, spanning more than 2 decades. She is presently heading a CBSE school which belongs to the Cosmopolitan Education Society, a name in the field of education for nearly 60 years. A postgraduate in English and a bachelor's and master's in education, along with postgraduate studies in nutrition and dietetics and business management. She was also awarded the National Scholarship by Mumbai University for postgraduate studies. She has an expertise in innovative curriculum designing, assessment beside mentoring and professional development of the teachers. She is a keen learner who believes in parental and community involvement being important stakeholder of society, community connect, and connection before correction as her mantras. Very good. She works towards developing students who are Indian at heart and global in spirit. She believes validation inspires but should not be the reason behind doing great work. She has received several awards like other and she has received from NASA also. The school has received the top emerging school 2020 by the Times Group and also the best progressive schools 2020 by NSA. Sorry. She has been a speaker at the Educators Desk Conference at the University of London, speaker at the World Education Summit, keynote speaker, and paper presenter at the Hindus Principal Conference. She is a member of several prestigious organizations in order to make her contribution as an educationist. Her team is her strength. Welcome to you, ma'am, and please tell us about that. How you had been working into these schools. I mean, which places you have worked, and how you are doing up with this nutrition and dietitian business management studies you have done. How you're using it in your personal life or in school also. Ma'am, you're muted.
So I also belong to a defense background, just like Raminder ma'am. My father was a naval officer, and so is my husband. He's a naval pilot. So I happen to travel all around the country. So while at that time we always felt the pinch, we are traveling from one place to another, picking up our baggage every time, every 2 years, and children have to settle down and adjust in new places. It was a little painful then, but I realize it now that it was such an enriching experience, from one part of Ernakulam, Kerala, to another part of Port Blair, to Vishakhapatnam, to Goa, to Mumbai. I mean, who can get this kind of an opportunity? I don't think it's easy to get this kind of an opportunity. So I consider this challenge, and I think it is, transformed into an opportunity and learning experience. So that's how I traveled all around the country.
That's great, ma'am. That's great. And we feel that we should travel throughout the country at this place and that place. And you, by your, the chance only, like to the husband's, shifting or transfers, you're moving to every place and you're getting an idea of the pan India. So it won't be in your mind that I haven't traveled throughout India.
Yes.
You are getting that. Only the problem is the shifting one and settling down.
Yes.
That is the main problem. But you might be habitual now. Yes. After so many years, might be habitual about that also.
Now I finally settled in Mumbai, so now I'm enjoying this part of my journey also.
Right, that's great, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Next, we have Dr. Meenakshi Narula. She is the principal of Shanford Heuristic School, K-12 School, Oraya. That's in UP. An inspiring academic leader, MIE Master Trainer, Adopt Creative Educator, Level 2, and an ardent advocate of technology integration in education and game-based learning. She is founder and CEO of Mentoring the Mentors, MSME, registered and ISO certified institute, an institute that accelerates your learning curve. She conducts various community outreach programs to reaching the unreachable by conducting workshops and summer programs for the government school students and teachers. Welcome, ma'am. Warm welcome to you. Please, Meenakshi ma'am, we are very pleased to know that you have been reaching to the unreachable. So please tell us about this, your association.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm really very delighted and honored to be amongst all the intellectuals who are just sharing their own experiences. They are having vast experience in respective fields. So here I also want to add on my experience. Whatever I have learned throughout my journey in the field of education past 20 years. So whatever I have learned, I have gained. Especially a lot of transformation has been happened during this pandemic. Past 1.5 year, I have learned, I have explored a lot. I am a postgraduate in English as well as IT and distance education as well. So here is like that IT is actually a craze for me to keep on exploring something in the field of IT. So when I started helping my teachers during pandemic, because none of them, they were familiar with using technology. So without taking any support from outsiders, I mean, without outsourcing, without spending even a single penny for their professional development, I enabled my staff members to go further and to took the virtual platform for this online teaching and all. And when I also suffered from COVID, right, I was also, I mean, bedridden, and then I realized like whatever I have learned, that will go along with me only. Why not to share with others too? As and when I recovered, I started with my own venture, that is mentoring the mentors, that is MSME registered, ISO certified, and there are so many educators, they are associated all over India and even around the world as well. So many teachers who want to learn a lot, gamification, digital education, various certification, because I'm also Google certified, Micro certified, Adobe certified educator. So even I help my teachers also to become Microsoft Innovator Educators, MIE experts and all. So I help those teachers who cannot spend on their professional development. During pandemic, it is very difficult for them to go for professional development, but I mean, it is, they have to continue with their jobs as well, but they cannot continue because they are not trained enough to go for this virtual platform to manage the classes online. So I'm helping them out, taking almost, twice a week, I conduct some sessions for their professional development, and they're learning many things about gamification, about making classes engaging and enriching for the students. And this is just my initiative as a social service, whatever I have learned, because education is all about sharing and caring. That's it, sir, I would like to share.
That's great, ma'am. So you are a certified Google teacher also, ma'am. I mean,
Yeah.
you have taken training from there also. That's very
Yeah.
great, ma'am. That's very
Yes.
great, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Next, we have Dr. Vandana Mahajan. She has done MA in economics and doctorate in economics. Now it has been more than 16 years in the field of education. In this duration of time, she had worked on different management posts, and presently she is working as principal in a reputed CBSE school. She has done a number of national research papers, have published 2 books, and also attended different national and international seminars and workshops, working with number of social and educational organizations on STEAM position, have received reputed awards for best principal and for other academic areas. She believes to work in most efficient manner by applying her skills and abilities in innovative style. She is an individual who is self-made, self-motivated, and versatile personality. And ma'am is working with, ma'am, your school is Shamford. Sorry,
Yeah. James Cambridge International.
James Cambridge International School, Pathankot. Welcome, ma'am. Please tell us about your, education life and how you had started up with education. It is by chance or by choice?
I would like to first thank you, sir, for inviting me.
Welcome.
And I was listening through the speakers who were speaking, and it is my pleasure that I am there with them. I belong to Lucknow, basically. I would like to mention here, I got married almost 20 years back in a very small town, that is Deenanagar. So
Okay.
I basically belong from there now. So when I started my journey as a teacher over here, when I got married in Deenanagar, then I was a teacher. I went through different phases. Like when I used to go to the villages, I used to go for counseling sessions also. Basically, I do counseling for kids. So apart from teaching, when I used to go in the interiors for the counseling of these students, and when I used to teach them at college level, school level, I used to feel there's a lot of gap between the parents and the kids over here, especially in these remote areas where it is not that much of development still. So I found that the students were not able to speak up their mind. They were not able to get the exact, they were not able to interact.
You're audible, ma'am. It's okay. I think there was some connectivity problem with her. Yeah, she's there.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. You're audible now also.
So at that time, when I started with the counseling, I came to know that here the psyche was somewhat very different, because here the kids were not able to talk with the parents that what they want to pursue. Maybe they could be in college or at the school level also. They were forced to study. They were not able to, the parents were not able to communicate with them that how to do the things in a proper way. So when I started my journey of education here, my first motive until date, I'm learning also, and until date doing the counseling for different colleges and school for the kids, so that we are able to bridge up that gap between the parent and the student, so that they could do what they want and wish in future.
That's great, ma'am. That's great, ma'am. Dr. Vanda, welcome to you. Welcome to you. And you had been a neighbor. Lucknow is near to Kanpur. So you are basically from Lucknow. That's
Yes,
great. That's great. Welcome, ma'am. Next, we have Suchitra Vijay, ma'am. She is from Club 1 BR. Suchitra, ma'am, is a community manager with the Club 1 billion program at Stones to Milestone. She holds a master degree in English literature. She switched her career to indulge in her love for writing and communication. She passionately believes in reading and wants every child to benefit from the power of reading. Let me introduce also that because we are from the education industry, and we are talking about online classes and everything is becoming online. So ma'am is there from Club 1 BR. She is also as a manager over there. And welcome, Suchitra, ma'am. Please tell something about your also education journey and how you come up with this idea coming up into this Club 1 BR program.
Thank you very much, Chandok sir. I want to start by saying that I'm still a little bit in awe of the company that I am in right now. I mean, it is really an honor to be on this platform with all these esteemed principals, including yourself. So my journey, my dad's job was a little bit of a travel job. So I have also, like, till I was in sixth standard, I was lucky to travel around a little bit. We stayed for a while in Haryana, various places in Haryana and all that. So I loved reading since I was a very small child. I was a very talkative child. So my parents turned to books as a way to shut me up, basically. So they were like, okay, if you're reading, you're not talking, so here you go. And that sort of developed into a lifelong passion, and reading led to writing. Like as Raminder ma'am was mentioning, sometimes, you know, there are things that you just want to get out of your system, and putting pen to paper is simply the best way to do it. So that's how reading sort of led to writing. And the pandemic, I used to work in financial services. I spent about 10 years working in banks, and then the pandemic sort of made me realize that it was not what I wanted to do all my life. And I shifted to, Stones to Milestones. Started off with writing, and now we have created a program to encourage as many kids to read as we can. So the 1BR actually stands for 1 billion readers. Our aim is to reach out to 1 billion young children and sort of induct them into the habit of reading, to introduce them to the joys and pleasures of reading. So yes.
That's great. That's great, ma'am. And there's a saying now that do a job you love and you will never have to work a day in a life. So like Pratima ma'am, she is fond of, that dance culture and all. So she has introduced into her schools also. So it feels pleasure. Apart from academics, you feel pleasure that I'm introducing this thing also with the students, normal and every type of students I'm introducing. So whatever you are liking, and that's a good thing. And if you're introducing, you feel good. You feel very good. So almost all of us, my father also was was a lawyer advocate. I am law graduate also, but he didn't let me come into the profession. He said it's not, it's not so, it has become so corrupt now that you should not enter into this profession. And my incline was also from the very starting, it was from with education. So that was also the reason I came into education. That's great. Welcome, Suchitra ma'am. A very warm welcome again. And without wasting a time, I'll start up the suggestions or the questions, whatever we can say. Over to you, Pratima ma'am. I'd like to ask you that when we talk about LSRW, reading is a very important integral part, a very important part. So what is your personal experience with reading?
Reading, I am today also, before I go to bed, I have to read something. And recently, I've been reading a lot about books of Dr. J.D. Krishnamurti. And it's, they are so inspirational. And of course, I've seen my grandson, how many books I buy for him, he's not touching them. Now, that is where I really like this topic that you have actually today we are discussing upon, that importance of reading and how do we inculcate that in our children. How many books we bring for them, how many books are introduced to the students. Just now, ma'am told that she's from organization that is stone to stone learning, is it? So you're trying to reach out to a lot of students, lot of schools. We had a seminar on education poverty, which actually said that 90% of our students are unable to read. So we are not talking about our school children. We are talking about the semi-urban and villages where children are also not able to read the letters of the alphabet of their mother tongue. So this is where it is actually a very severe, I would say, situation where we really need to reach out to a lot of organizations where we can take on the reading programs, in our schools also. I know there are, most of the schools have got that drop till you read, and 1 hour of reading, or once a week a reading program, or 5 books they introduce, and the children are supposed to read and then talk about them, or maybe change the ending of the book, evaluate them. So these are the things that are happening in all the schools, because it is becoming so imperative and important that we need to take up these reading programs very, very seriously, because we know the situation what is there today in every household. Parents also, when they talk to the teachers, when they talk to the principals, they keep saying that children are not touching books because they've got so many other things to work on. Social media is there at their fingertips. So that is where I think we really, really need to put in a lot of effort. See, my age is that I have been reading from the beginning. I mean, from the time of Enid Blyton and all those kind of things. So we have been reading. I've also read all the Mills and Boons and things like that. Today also I'll like to read Mills and Boon. It's not just about non-fiction books, but it's also about fictional books. I loved Harry Potter books because I was totally zapped by the imagination of J.K. Rowling. I could not leave that book actually when I started reading it. So these are the beautiful books that are available. And if we can bring the child to read this book, to go into that imagination, what is there, to let out that steam of the stress that they have, it will be wonderful. So every school, I'm sure, when we talk to all of you and we reach out to all the schools, we know that every school is trying to do their best to, start the reading programs and get their children to read.
That's great, ma'am. And it sounds from your saying that how reading is so much important and how now the children are not ready to read. If they don't want to pick up the books, their study books, or even they are not ready to pick up. We used to have Oxford Dictionary and find out, words and meaning. Now they pick up Google. Now Google Baba is over there, so nobody needs that. And now because of this pandemic, also from 1.5 years, it was saying that mobile should not be given or the gadget should not be given to the children. But now we are giving them. Please take it and study. So,
Mr. Chandok, in our days, you're talking about Oxford Dictionary. I'm talking about my days when we were Renan and Martin used to be a Bible for us.
Yes. Renan Martin, so I was also in
Yeah,
SSC.
it used to be like a Bible.
I did my 10th in 1988 and in 90 did my 12th. Renan Martin was so bus like everything for us. A red book, Renan Martin. I think the cover was red. I remember.
Yes.
Renan Martin was like purely like Bible, and we used to study in missionary schools. So English was nothing was without Renan Martin. And Annie Blytons and Richie Rich and Hindi or comics also, Champak, Lord Port and all. Everything we used to do. So things have changed. Scenario has so much changed. Now things have changed, and now we have to make it according to the children now. How? You can't force them. Now, again, I'll repeat in this session also that the teachers come to me and say that, when I take sessions or something like that. So they say me that till now date we respect our teachers, but now students don't respect the teachers. Now you don't get the respect. You have to earn your respect. That was actually the fear. In our time, it was actually the fear if you say that. Okay, if you will not respect the teacher, he'll give us one cane. Now you can't scold even. Parents will stand at your door and say, how dare you scold my child on the online classes. So there, the children are very smart. I've just in the last session also took an example. My son was in grade 4 and we said him not to go for one day to the school because you can do a revision work. So he said, I'll look into my timetable and only I'll decide because he goes to school. So when he checked up with the maths, he told me that, okay, Papa, maths you won't be able to teach like the ma'am teaches the stepwise. So I was very happy. When it came to Hindi period, he said, Hindi, oh, leave it, Papa. It's of no use. We play with her. I was astonished that class 4 child is saying that we play with her. So here the thing is, when the teacher is giving, then only the child will, give respect. We do get respect after 20 years of teaching, 25 years of teaching. Also, the child who studied in the beginning, married and children are all big now. They come and, they respect us. It's not like that. So children are very smart, ma'am. It is smart-oriented things have come into being. Now they want to go online. They don't want to touch the book. They don't want to, reverse the pages and see it. They want to go online. Anything is online, then they are ready to. Thank you, Pratima ma'am. Coming up to Raminder ma'am, will you like to add up your experience about reading?
So when I was a child, when I was, I think, 10 years or 11 years old, my father made a custom at home that we have to read you. That I was reading from childhood. And Mama and Papa, they both were discussing Khushwant Singh's column. It used to come when we were very young, and that article column was coming. And they both were discussing. And this stimulates habit of reading in me also. And whenever I go for job, Tribune is always in my bag. Slowly and slowly, gradually, I started reading novels. I think all of you remember when we were having pocket books, novels, Hindi novels. My brother used to bring novel and he was 5 years elder. And he always kept hidden and I secretly and slyly was reading all the novels. So when I became an elder person, I always keep a book with me so that being a literature student, I should have a good vocabulary and I should know much experiences of other people because fiction is a totally different world. And whenever I get boredom and whenever I feel low, whenever I feel that this world is not for me, I take shelter of a book. Wherever I go, everybody knows. In my school, teachers know this thing that ma'am is always having a book in her purse. I go to doctor, I always keep a book in my purse. I never look at the people, I look at my book. Wherever I go, I have read where there are gaps. Whenever you go to lift, when you are traveling, use that time. And I use always this time for reading. So, you cannot enforce reading habit in people. You cannot enforce any habit in anyone if you are a role model in front of them. So when I started, one day my teacher came to me, "Ma'am, you always keep reading a book whenever you are free. I will always read a book and please suggest me a book." Now she's a good reader. If one teacher, one student, if I can motivate, that is the purpose of all my experience. Then
That's great.
my started watching me. In one room, I am reading. In another room, my son is reading. And in another room, my daughter is reading. And we are having a bookshelf of 500 books till date.
Very good.
So
Very good.
now people ask, "Ma'am, you, I'm sitting in front of my whole books." When ma'am was asking about Harry Potter, I'm having all the uh, volumes of Harry Potter, which is bought by my daughter. I'm having all the volumes of Paulo Coelho. But I feel that books are the people, those who will never leave you. Your every companion can leave you, but books can never leave you.
Ma'am, there
So
is a saying that books are the best friends.
books are best friend, and it is
Best
not a
friends.
cliche. It is not a cliche. It is not a saying. I have felt it. So whenever one day my PS told me, "Ma'am, you are feeling very low. Please take out your book and you will feel refreshed." So this should be the thing, that it should be a habit. And what I feel, if you are reading, I have seen a photograph on Facebook that one female was sitting in a bus and her daughter or son, they were sitting also in her lap. They both were reading book. Mother was reading, daughter was reading. So this is the living example you set. You don't say by words, you say by the your actions, as you said earlier. We don't have to prove, we don't have to enforce. So what I feel, once somebody asked me how you tackle the thing so calmly or so with the patience, or sometimes parents revert back you in a bad mood, sometimes students, sometimes teachers, and I become in a fraction of a second in a very jolly mood. And one teacher answered that ma'am is having different approach because she is reading so many books. And I have seen this thing. Books change your perspective towards the whole world. You can confront whole world with mature mind and calm heart. So I will suggest that if you want that your students should read, be a living example in front of them. Automatically, it will solve the problem.
That's great, ma'am. That's great. That's great. Uh, Thank you so much, ma'am, for your views. Next, we'll come to Gurdeep for ma'am. Ma'am, what is one book that made an impact on you?
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Chandhok, for having us here. In fact, believe me, I don't feel as if I don't already know all the panelists. It's such a warm feeling to have all of them. I have already resonated with most of them. When Pratima ma'am was talking about theatre and education, uh, I'm also so passionate about it. We have been very silently using theatre in education, and we have our students coming back to you after years and telling, "Ma'am, you remember that Albert Einstein life story that we had enacted? We still remember every part of it." So that kind of an effect it has. Then coming to Raminder Pal Singh, ma'am, even my daughter is in Canada, but I write. I'm into poetry for a different reason, not only because my daughter is in Canada, but I resonate with you for that too. Coming to Vandana ma'am, you were talking about community connect. Yes, community connect is very, very essential, and that is one of our mantras. We believe that you have to incorporate the community, whether it's parents or it is the industry or it is anybody who can make a difference to education. And of course, Minakshi ma'am, who's talking about gamification. Yes, ma'am, that is the thing today. Gamification is something that we cannot manage today. Teachers cannot manage without using it in education. And Suchitra ma'am, I must say you're doing a great job from stone to milestone. Wonderful. Thank you so much for collecting us all together over here. Now coming to that one book that you're talking about. So there are several books, but this one book I would like to talk about is Summer Hills. If anybody has heard about Summer Hills by A.S. Neil. So the author happens to be the headmaster of this experimental school where he's experimenting with his new ways and methods. So it may sound a little loud, it may be a little bold at times, but there is so many things that we can take away. It teaches us, the entire book is talking about, how we need to treat the children as adults. We need to consider their voice. And I personally have taken a lot of things. I tell my children, you must have a voice of your own. You must have the courage to come and tell me, ma'am, Gurdeep ma'am, this is not correct. I think this could have been done like this. Only then I can agree that you have the courage, and it's okay to be wrong. If you feel that it's not correct, I can reason out with you. But in case it is correct, then probably I should go with your opinion. That is very, very essential. So that is, we have to treat the children as adults. See, earlier days, no, it was like spare the rod and spoil the child. That kind of a thing was there. But that cannot run now. And most of the parents are pretty aware now. So they know that we should not be doing that. So the entire thing, is talking about how it's basically talking about self-regulation and student democracy. So now the main thing that the author is over here in this book, why I like this verse, is talking about it's very essential to develop students in a school who are well-rounded personalities rather than, having neurotic scholars. It is better to have an engineer who makes a difference in education with his experiments and teaches little children to love science than to have an engineer who goes and blows out the World Trade Center, right? So that is the kind of person he wanted to develop. And there are so many takeaways in this book that sometimes while I was reading this book, I realized, oh, this is what I've done wrong. And, I should have taken this like this. So it may not have benefited me personally with my children, but I have taken it very strongly that I'm going to utilize it in my school, and I have been utilizing it, very strongly. All the points that I have picked up from the book, it's a must read for everyone. Thank you so much.
That's great, ma'am. A very great and vast experience you have for that insightness. And that book I have not read. I have heard the name many a times. It's not a new one; it's a very old one.
Published in 1960, in fact.
Yeah. So I remember in my school time also it was over there. So, but now probably I'll read that. And there are certain books, there are certain movies, there are many, incident which give you a lesson, which give a lesson to many people. They affect the life of the people. It does the life of the people. And this is what about we educationists is, that people ask what educationists are doing. Educationists are doing a lot of things. They have, and the very main thing is that they are doing from very long, but in this education time, the pandemic time, they are there from the day one and trying to give education to the children in whatever way we are trying to. That's thank you, Gurdeep ma'am. Coming up to Meenakshi ma'am. Meenakshi ma'am, I'd also like to know that what is the one book that made impact on you?
Yeah, sir. First of all, I would like to say, actually, I have listened to the thoughts of each and every intellectual over here. Would like to say, I have never read for joy. I have always read for a purpose. During my childhood, I always used to read only and only my textbooks. I used to buy reference books, and I have never read any other book except my textbooks and all, because maybe nothing was introduced to us in our school time also. I have been born and brought up in a small village in Punjab, that's near Jalandhar. And I was not aware, let me tell you, I was not aware, maybe there are some other books also that are to be read, even that are there, apart from the course books as well. So I just read those books only till I completed my graduation, my post-graduation, and I never read those kind of books. But after my marriage, and then I came here to Gurgaon, and the crossword here in the Galaxy Mall, that was the best place that I really love to be. I spent most of the time sitting over there, reading number of books. Maybe, I was flabbergasted to see, yes, the book world is just amazing it is. So see, very late in my life, I got love for reading. But even then, I would like to say I had always a purpose for reading. Maybe, and then I started reading some kind of spiritual books as well. Maybe Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Maybe I'm talking about Dasham Granth. Maybe if I have to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Ramcharitmanas, whatever it is, right? I have always read something because I had some purpose. I wanted to know something. And now, as an academic leader, I always go through different kinds of books related to pedagogy, joy of reading, joy of teaching, joy of learning. I have gone through several books and I have made it a part and parcel of my life. Yes, I have got, hard core books as well. I go through Kindle as well. But certainly would like to share one book that I really liked reading, that I have just completed recently, and one that I have started now. The book that I have completed is Backbencher and the Last Ranker Teachers. That is an amazing book. I mean to say that that is by Kavita Ghosh, an amazing book. We get to know when we as an academic leaders, we always have to appoint some teachers when they come to us for interviews and all. We go through their CVs, their marks, their experience, all those things, right? And the teachers who have always been brilliant during their life, during their school life, during the college life, they're the gold medalists. How will they get to know what are the challenges that are faced by an average child? How will they understand the challenges faced by the children who always sit at the back bench? Why are they sitting so? And the adolescents, when they pass on some kind of slips to each other, right? When they have not gone through that very phase in their life, they have not experienced all those things. How will they tackle all those situations? They are not able to do so. So, that has given me a different perspective to look at the interviewers. Yes, maybe I need to look at this aspect as well. Marks, certainly, we always talk to our students. We always talk to them. Children marks don't matter. Children marks don't matter. So many letters, they are being issued by so-and-so schools and all, being published on websites and all. But what about us? When we recruit teachers, don't we go for marks, weightage? So many other things are there. So, that is an amazing book, wonderful book. Please do go ahead, read, and each and everything you will get to know how the children, they behave in washroom, how the children, they behave in classroom, how the children, they become very happy, very elated. They feel like, oh, this teacher should not come today to school. Why they are thinking like that? These kind of experiences, you won't get to know. And one more thing, you asked about one book, but certainly I would like to add one more about another book that I am reading nowadays, that is by Marslow. And this book is about the joy of not knowing, right? When we talk about, teaching or knowing something, it's not actually vessel that we have to fill in. It is actually, igniting a spark to know. So here he talks about joy of not knowing. It is like a bonfire. When you do not know anything, it means you have got a lot of capacity, a lot of space in you to know more. It talks about, the experience of a teacher, a head teacher, how to make teaching, learning process interesting and engaging so that it should be value-based. It should be challenge-rich. It should be inquiry-led. It should be student-led, that kind of education. So these kind of books I really like. I never go for, obviously that's a fiction one that I'm talking about, Backbencher and Last Ranker Teacher, but it was really very, very good.
That's great, ma'am. That's great and awesome. The experience what you have. So we say that there is no age of learning. There is no age of learning. And I also had been a average student during my school life. And here I'm sitting in front of you with all the intellectuals. If I would have been the topper, I would not have got the guts to start up this show and talk to and call you all eminent guests over here. So this is the average students, they do much more. And after being an average student, I did my MCom, MA, LLB, B.Ed, MA in education. So this is the thing that, and at the age of somewhere around 49, 50, I've started up with my show where the youngsters start this. And I've got compliment from many managements also that the associations and big companies, they start up with all these things. And being a principal with having so many work at your place, you have started up with this. So there's no age of learning. And when we talk to people like you all, so we get more inspired. Why do I suggest people that please don't click on the like button or subscribe button, or when it has been posted to the media, good ma'am, very good ma'am, great ma'am. No, do that. Also go through these episodes also, where you will learn from different intellectuals. I am very happy. I am getting 1000% because every show I'm getting the knowledge of the different educationists like Pratima ma'am, Vandana ma'am, Gurdeep ma'am, Ramendra ma'am, Meenakshi ma'am, and Suchitra ma'am also. I am earning this from the shows, that what knowledge I'm gaining every week from you people like great educationists like you. That is the best thing. Thank you to all of you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was entirely a different thing, and a very valuable suggestion by Meenakshi ma'am. Thank you. Next, we'll come to Dr. Vanda ma'am. Ma'am, we'd like to know what is the best way to introduce the reading habits to children. As we said that children are not ready to read. What is the best way according to you?
Sir, I was listening to all the principals and it was wonderful listening to them. But I could practically connect with, just now, as Meenakshi ma'am told, that she belonged to a small village in Punjab. So as I'm married here in Punjab, and I gave a reference that it is a very remote area, Deenanagar, where I live now. So, sir, reading, what I feel, when I used to be a kid, we used to read, as many of the my principal sitting here was telling, they used to read different things. I used to read Nancy Drew. It was one of my favorites. So then I even used to read Tintins. So when I was growing, we got the opportunity, maybe the parents were aware, the teachers were aware, so we were able to get the proper guidance and atmosphere. But when I'm talking about this town, this place where I am living, I could just, it is my perception from my side. Here, the problem is with the parenting a bit, because as I feel, reading can be developed on the very initial stage of any child's life. Like when a child is just 1 or 2 years old, like our mothers used to read out bedtime stories to us, our grandmothers used to tell short stories, read out something to us. So we were at that stage, we were developing some kind of reading skills also in us. At like when we were growing, we were able to interact, because when we are reading, we are able to communicate as in a more effective manner with people. We could relate with these stories, because if we are reading different authors, different storybooks, different perceptions of the authors regarding any similar topics also. So this kind of a process can be done, inculcated in a kid, but we need to be in a collaboration. Like the teachers alone cannot do this, not the parents alone cannot do this, but yes, if we join hands together and we try to inculcate this good little habits of reading in from the initial till the stage when the student is coming to school or going to college, giving them that atmosphere at home, also giving them plenty of books to read. Because nowadays I feel, when when a 1 year kid is crying, the mother or the father, they are just putting that phone in front of them and they are playing. They are not putting the child into more creative habit. They are just putting that mobile phones. Like, students are not reading. Why? Because they are not aware that they are they are good books that they could read, and this is also a very good recreation from them if they develop good interest in those books. These days students are just playing video games. They are being motivated if they are watching TV and serials at home. So what I suggest, that if you want to inculcate this habit of reading in any student, maybe school going kids, or even in when we are parenting as parents, we should just focus the things that we should give them, that atmosphere, that counseling, that they should know that the reading skills would help them in future, and they should understand what are the value of the books. So personally, I feel that if we want that the student should develop good reading skills, firstly, they should be told the importance of the books at home also. They should be guided about good literature, what to read. It is not that we should just compel them that read these books. We should give them freedom to read whatever they like, whether it could be stories, at number of us were discussing, it could be fiction, it could be poetry, it could be anything, it could be in Hindi, it could be in any mother tongue. I don't say it should be in English, but we should try to counsel the students that kindly read something. And what I feel, and even I would like to request through this, is if the viewers are just listening to this, that we should counsel our kids not only at school, that the principals and teachers are supposed to do this, and not only the parents are supposed to do this, but together we should try to improve these reading skills at very early stage of life.
That's great,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
That's great. That's great. And it's very important that reading habits, if starts from the very beginning, that is pre-primary and primary stage, it will be better. And there are problems also in the remote areas that the parents are illiterate. They do not know how to read, or they don't give time. So many parents, or the most of the parents, they have an habit, because we have deposited the fees, this is the only thing we have to do. Otherwise, all the things have to be done by the uh, school only. But at the very same time, I feel that there are problems with the teachers also, because even many of the teachers, they are not the good readers even. So there, even when you are after their life, that you have to bring this in process with the students. So when you are looking after them, then they'll be doing it. After some time, they'll stop it. So there should be mechanism. There should be mechanism that where the habit should go on along with the students, and the teachers won't have to be checked again and again. A mechanism can be there. This is what we felt. That this is what I felt, and had a word with Suchitra ma'am from Club One Beer, that because first of all, she told us, and she just tell us also about that most important thing is right now during pandemic, because the managements are not able to invest also some in any sort of thing. This is free of cost. And here, ma'am, just Suchitra ma'am, tell us that what is this program, how this mechanism can go on, because all the principals who had been talking in every session, they'll be telling the only problem is not, it is not only we can do it, it is problem on the side of the teachers also, problem from the parents also, and with the students. And it is very well said by almost all the guests. We cannot force the children to read. They won't listen. Even a small child doesn't listen. You have to just request them, or that it doesn't comes into the mind that we have to read. So, ma'am, how this Club One BR is helps the schools or the school children or us? Please let us know. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to share that I think Pratima ma'am was saying that 90% of children today struggle to read at their own age level. They're not able to, it's their own class reading level, but they're not able to read it. In fact, we have seen reports from studies that say that about 55% of children in urban areas studying in private English medium schools cannot read at their own age level. Like even like maybe one grade lower than their age level also they struggle to read. That was also part of the reason why we decided to start a program where we reach out directly to schools, because parents tend to take things more seriously when it comes through the school. The immediate, I mean, I'm a parent myself, and the immediate assumption is that yes, if the teacher is saying that this has to be done for the kid, they have been dealing with children for such a long time, so they know what they're talking about, and this is something that we should do. So Club One BR program, like Chandok sir said, it's a completely non-commercial program. We do not charge for any of the resources that we give out in the program. The main resource that we have is an app called Freedom. So it's spelled FREADOM with emphasis on the read in the middle. We have been told by quite a number of people that you're running an English language app and your app spelling seems to be off there. You seem to have written a instead of an e, and then my boss decided to write a long blog explaining exactly why it was spelled the way it was. But what we have done with the app is that it is aimed at children between the ages of 3 to the age of 12, because as Vandana ma'am was saying, the earlier you start, the better, and it's easier to build habits in children when they're at a younger age. So the app has about 2000 plus stories. We have about 1000 plus activities, and we also have this daily news feature. So we call it Buzz. We have a feature where every day there is a new article added in to give the child a feeling that they're sort of keeping up with the current news and they have something new to read on a daily basis. And we have built in a little bit of gamification as well into the app. So every time a child finishes a story, they win some points. Every time they complete a quiz, they win some points. There's a leaderboard on the app where they can keep track of how many points other children have won. And the best part about the Club and Beard program, especially for a school, is that as a principal, as a teacher, you can track exactly how much each child is reading. We develop a reading report which we share with the school, where we give you accurate data right from the app as to, okay, these are the children who have registered on the app from your school. This is the amount of reading that this child has done, and this is the amount of stories, and it is broken down into how many stories, how many activities, how many news articles. So it's a way for teachers to recognize and reward children who are reading well, as well as identify children who might need a little bit of support with reading. And one more thing is also that the app's AI sort of customizes itself to the reading level of the student rather than the grade level of the student. So as the child reads more on the app, the app sort of adjusts for the reading level of the student and gives them more material that is easier to read, so that children don't just stop reading because they feel it's too difficult. Or like, I mean, I have a son myself, and I know that if I give him something he doesn't want to do, or if I ask him to read a book that he doesn't want to read, he will go out of the room with it, and then in 2 minutes he'll be back with the book saying, yeah, I've finished reading it. We have taken lessons from all this, so the app can also monitor whether the child has actually finished the story, or they've just gone clicking next and said, yeah, I finished the story, this is wrapped up and this is done.
So that means
So
it is all customized. It means it's all customized. That the
yes,
parents, the administration, that is principals and administration, and the teachers and the parents, they can check. A child cannot fool that I have read it, and you can check it the
yes,
stand, because basically we also, as a as an administrator, we feel that with education we know everyone. Everybody knows that if the reading habits of the child will increase gradually, the thinking, or what we have the topic is critical thinking power, will for sure increase. We cannot force the parents also. At many a times parents say that my child can speak in English, मेरा लड़का इंग्लिश लड़के बच्चा इंग्लिश बोल लेता है, तो इसको रीडिंग करने की क्या जरूरत है. So they don't understand that the child, if can speak, it's not necessary that child can read also. That is very important. So
yes,
everything is so much customized that we can check through also. The parents, the teachers, and the principal, they can check through it. That's great, man.
yes.
Suchitra, man, thank you so much. That's a very good topic about reading. That it's 1 hour is very less. 1 hour ka 2 hours are also very less talking about. But this round we'll make it a very quick one with 2 minutes answer from everyone. Pratima ma'am, I'll come again back to you. What in your opinion on the statement that girls start reading at an earlier stage than boys?
Chandok sir, I don't believe in it, because I have seen a lot of boys who also are voracious readers and they start at a very early age. So I don't know from where have this statement come in, because I am not for it. I've seen, so many young boys who are actually addicted to books. And it may not be just English books. We have been talking about the mother tongue also. I'll just like to add on here what Dr. Vandana said, if you permit me.
Sure,
A
ma'am.
very quick one, that, it's what she told about the stories, that starts from the grandmother stories, to leading the children to browse through the pre-primary children, 2 or 3 years old, just to browse through the pictures of books, It need not be a story attached to it, but if the pictures are there which will attract the child to the pictures, to start with, and then lead on to one sentence, then lead on to two sentences, then of course the vocabulary and the sentence formation and the love for reading starts with the child. So it should become like like how I remember I used to tell parents that, make it a habit at 6 o'clock, you give the child books, or keep some attractive books in front of the child, and let the child just browse through it. Let the child get the feel of the books. That is what they say, the feel of the book the child should get, and then slowly, the habit will increase. But again, I'll come back to your statement that I don't believe in it, because I feel gender is not part of it, and everybody, it is to their own.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You are a great
Thank you.
supporter of boys also. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, thank you so much. So, Raminder, ma'am, the same question will come up to you also. That do you feel that girls are, start reading at earlier stage I mean, as compared to boys? If yes, then why, and not why? Why not?
Yes, I feel so. When in the young age, always girls are told that you stay at home and boys go for playing outside. Then it started that girls try to kill their time, to kill their boredom. They started reading books. But what I feel, boys feel that reading is cool. They are having peer pressure. They are vulnerable to peer pressure, and they don't want to, although they read, but they don't want to admit in front of their peer group that they read. They feel that reading is not masculine, it is feminine. There are some places that, like in remote areas, in rural areas, they boys are brought up like this, that it is not a masculine thing to read, and it is only for girls, it is not for boys. And moreover, I still remember in our youth what was happening when teacher was giving us a passage to read. So what was happening? Girls were reading very thoroughly, and because they read for pleasure also, they read for happiness also. But boys, what they do? They read for casual thing. They skip the paragraphs and they try to complete it, because sometimes they are not having their books of their choice, because they are technical savvy, or what you say, they don't get non-fictional books. So there are many reasons that boys are not inclined to read books. Most of them are not reading, but I feel girls are more prone to reading rather than boys.
Right, ma'am. You also have a great that reason for that also. The girls actually are more sincere than the boys. In lot, I mean, exceptions are always there. The girls are more sincere, but but now the situation has changed. The
Tables have
boys,
been
are, the girls are more naughty than the boys, ma'am. Pratima, ma'am, I can understand the situation that now the girls are more, naughty than the boys, and the boys को कहते हैं खाम खा बेचारे बदनाम है. The girls are more naughty. They have become equal now, because everywhere the situation is little bit less or more. That confusion has come up with this question. Thank you, Raminder, ma'am, for your views. Then I'll come to Gurdeep, ma'am, and that's a very good question. So that who is the most important? We have many stakeholders, all the stakeholders. Out of them, who is the most important stakeholder in creating a child's reading habit?
Okay, so like we all know, children are first, parents are the first teachers, and the children are with the parents. So obviously they turn out to be the most important and crucial and early stakeholders in the reading journey of the child. So it's very essential that right from the beginning, the parents have to show that interest. So whether the child is able to read or not, when at the age of 1 and 2, the child is listening. The parent has to be very expressive when it comes to reading. You have to read it loud. You have to fix a certain time for reading. You have to start early, and you have to be very, very expressive. It should be like the child should be waiting. Okay, please, a little more. I want to know a little more of what happened. So then again, coming to when we say reading stakeholders, we are talking about these children. At the same time, I don't know whether you have read that story of Sudha Murthy, where she taught her grandmother how to, read. Okay, so the story over there is she's talking about how the grandmother was so keen. What is going to happen next? What is going to happen next at her age? So she was around 70 that time. So it is, I think any age group can be excited about reading if we give an opportunity and environment to read. So that is, that's what Suchitra ma'am and all are doing, and wonderful. So what we do in our schools are like, and the second stakeholders, of course, automatically become the schools. So what we do is we call eminent authors. For example, we recently called the booklet guy. He's Amrit Deshmukh, a very young, dynamic writer who has written several books. He writes book reviews and plus his own books. So we organized this program called Bachon Se Charcha. Okay. So this Bachon Se Charcha is something where the children are organizing the event and they are the ones who are asking the shooting questions at the person who comes. So what happens is the entire journey, before the children ask questions about how to write a book, how to author a book, they have to frame their own question. They have to understand what an author will be going through. So when they are posing the question to him and he's answering, automatically we come out of the region and they are, on the same platform. So we are exposing them to so much of writing and how to author a book and what are the various books available. So I think parents, number one, followed by the schools, and which should continue. Both of them should be partners in this as stakeholders.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. The parents, because this is the first home. Second home we have a school. So the first stakeholder should be parents. If they are able to read, even if they are reading in their original language only, that will also do. The only thing is that the impression has to be given to the child for that from the very beginning. Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Meenakshi ma'am, over to you. The same question I'd like to ask you, that what, according to you, is the most important stakeholder in creating a child's reading habit?
See, if I talk about parents, they are partners in education. Certainly, they are partners, but it's the duty of both the teachers as well as the parents. Because if the parents, they are unaware of all those things, as I have also gone through the same phase. Maybe if once in a blue moon, maybe once in a while, I have seen some book or whatever, maybe comic or whatever, and the parents, they refuse to buy the same. Right? They said, you go for your textbooks. Why are you wasting your time reading these kind of extra books and comics and all? Just leave it. I mean, they are also not aware. Some kind of orientation programs are required for the parents as well. Right. And another thing is teachers, they are, I would say, they have got more important role because they can inculcate that kind of habit. Once that habit is being created in them and that is being followed for, you see, a couple of days, and all the children, they will develop that kind of habit. For that, we have to make reading process interesting. Right? Interesting by number of activities, maybe as Pratima ma'am initially talked about, like we have got DEAR program, drop everything and read. We have got read to lead. We have got literary clubs. Right now also some literary fest is going on first week of September. We are organizing different kind of activities. We are introducing some fun-filled activities in our students. That is the job of a teacher. And when the students in an atmosphere, when the children, whether online, whether offline, the children, they are together, some kind of competitive spirit is there. They go for speed reading. Speed reading is there. They go for impactful reading, news reading, whatever kind of reading. There are a number of activities can be, you see, included over there. And children, certainly they practice the same at their home as well. Right? And so what if the parents, they are not literate enough, they are not reading the books? They may happen. Because I am also from that kind of background, though my parents, they were literate, right? But they were not having that kind of awareness. Like we have to go for another books as well. But certainly, if nowadays in the metro cities and all, we are so busy, we are always carrying our mobile phone, our devices and all other things are there. But we also should have to spare some time, as ma'am was talking, like reading with children, reading for children, maybe reading bedtime stories and all. That is really very, very important. Right? And here I just would like to add on one more thing. Why only reading only books? Now we are having gadgets. We cannot take away the gadgets from our children. We cannot. Hamare time par nahi tha, we were not having, so that's why we were not asking for it. Now we are having these kind of devices. How can we snatch these devices from our children? We cannot. So let us, introduce Kindle. Let us introduce Audible to the children. If you are having a printed book, you should have Audible as well of the same version. The children, they'll get to know how to pronounce the words, the pronunciation, the vocabulary, the meanings, the synonyms, antonyms. This is how they're going to enhance their vocabulary. And because I am MIE master trainer as well, would like to share with you, Microsoft has a wonderful tool, reading tool in the Microsoft Teams that is inbuilt, in which you can give that kind of assignments to your students where they'll be reading, recording their videos, and their reading progress is being shown. Their flaws and all will be highlighted, and number of times they can record and go ahead your grades. Everything is being done. So that is just amazing to inculcate the reading practice. This is where parents and teachers, they come together. Innovation, and normal reading that we have been doing, the traditional reading, that should go hand in hand, I would like to say.
You are absolutely right, ma'am. Because the thing is, mobiles had been introduced many years back even, but now when the pandemic started, so when the teachers or the principals even are saying that while studying you should not give mobile to the child, but from last 1.5 years, that means it will be somewhere around 2 years only now. Now we say them to please give them the gadgets, because how they'll be able to study. When they are using it, we should use it in the very creative way. This is what you, Meenakshi ma'am, and I'll conclude what you want to say.
I would like to add one more thing. If mobile is we are having something called immersive reader.
Yeah.
We are having something called text to speech, something the children, when there is nobody at home to guide how to read the book. They are having the book, they do not know how to pronounce the words. So they are, that time they become helpless. They should use that immersive reader, speech, that devices and all, some number of apps are available. So we should guide them to choose the right app in a right manner. That is the job of a teacher. Yeah.
That is what Meenakshi ma'am was telling, that because we say that the children, they misuse the mobile or gadgets. So how to make a good use of it? We can go, like Meenakshi ma'am said, that we can go up with that. We can ask the children to use these apps, and these apps like this. Even parents, they don't want to spend extra money on the books. So we have these type of apps like Club and Be or any other. When we have these types of apps, we don't have to spend. And at the very same time, the children, they don't want to pick up the book and shuffle the pages. They are out of it right now. So why not go according to the children? We have to, when we say that, everybody knows that this is not a new thing. That if we want to, the child to say anything to the child, we have to come up to their level. We have to understand at their level. They will not come up to our level. We have to get down up to their level. So coming up to their level, when these type of introductions have been done, that many things, your online things have come, apps have come, and it is very creative one. So we should go for that. Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am. Next we come to Vandana ma'am, Dr. Vandana. A question I'd like to ask you this, that how does reading encourage critical thinking? We say reading is very important. Reading is very important. And NEP also says that we have to move from, rote learning to critical thinking. Please, in short, what can you tell about that? Ma'am, you're muted. Vandana ma'am, you're muted.
Sir, I would not take much of time. I would say that being a critical thinker is a gift. But if we want to encourage this critical thinking, the one basic thing which I feel is reading. Of course, reading of books. Why I'm saying so, I would say that because if we read, if we are in habit of reading books, it helps us to analyze, comprehend life situations. Even we are able to do problem solving in a better manner, because we have got a better understanding of things, and we could do a better problem solving situations also in a very nice manner. So without saying much more on this, I would suggest that if you want to encourage critical thinking, we should definitely encourage reading of books. It could be a very good way to do this.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. So Chitra ma'am, coming up to you, and we'd like you to give your conclusion to this session also. You have heard to everyone, and we know that we are working in cities right now, or it may be a remote area, it may be a big city, but in cities, we do get the cooperation of the parents also along with the teachers. And many a times teachers also, they are not good readers. And coming into the remote areas, there we don't get the cooperation of the parents many a times. They want the child to read because they are illiterate, or they are not in the habit of reading, or they are working, they do not give time to their children. So now, just in sum up, just tell us that how does this your reading app help the I mean, you told me that there are 2,000 plus stories over there, fiction, non-fiction, every time, because the story should be giving according to the interest of the child, whatever interest he has. Only the thing is how much he reads, and it is being noted also. The meter sort of thing is over there, that you'll be able to tell that how many minutes the child has read, because here everything comes on the schools, that how the schools are going to do this.
Yes,
So
sir.
how does you also told me, ma'am, just tell about the teachers training, and you said storytelling also, programs
Yes,
also
sir.
you have. Yeah,
Yes.
please tell about that also. Then we'll
So,
continue.
the entire idea of Club One VR is not just to reach out to the students through the schools, but also build a community of schools who believe in the power of reading, who understand the power of reading, and create a sort of platform where, schools can interact with each other. The teachers are able to interact with each other and share things that they are doing around reading or around even English language learning in their schools that work. So the entire idea of the community is to provide a platform for knowledge sharing, somewhat similar to what we have been doing here. So through the program, what we also do is that we understand that in order to reach to the child, there are layers of getting to the child. So we have to make the parent understand, we have to make the teachers understand, we have to also give the school some kind of ammunition with which they can approach their teachers or their parents and say that, okay, this is something that is necessary for your child and this is something that your child needs to do. So we do teacher workshops. The way we have designed the Freedom app is that it can also be used in the online classroom. The teacher can display the book on the screen and do, when I was a student, we used to be asked to stand up in our benches by line and read paragraph after paragraph. And the teacher would correct our pronunciation and things like that. And I'm seeing now that with the online classes, time is a big challenge for teachers to be able to do activities like that. So the app also includes audio stories, so that the children can listen and they can understand how sentences should be pronounced, how much should you pause for a period, how much should you pause for a comma. So we have things like that on the app, and we also do workshops to make parents understand why reading is not just about reading the book, to help them understand how reading can actually help their child, and not just in generally saying, okay, if they read they'll learn more about things, but also that reading is indirectly connected to their child's grades as well. We have seen studies where it shows that children who start reading or are fluent in reading and comprehension of the English language by, say, second or third standard score 15% more in their board exams in the core subjects of mathematics and science, as compared to children who do not start reading at that age, or who do not read and comprehend English fluently by the ages of, say, 8 or 9. So this is all data that helps the parent understand that this is not just some extra activity that the school is making my child do. My child is actually going to benefit from this at the end of the day. Whether it is the school, whether it is the teachers, or whether it is the parents, all of us want the best for the children. We
That's
just
correct.
want them to grow and get everything that they deserve and everything that they can have access to. So we do free trainings to help each stakeholder in the system understand the part that they're playing and the importance of the part that they're playing.
That's great,
So
ma'am. That's great,
yeah.
ma'am. So Club One BR is a collective program. We are training the teachers. You are giving the stories and activities along with the stories to the students, as well as you give them points where they get the games. Interest has to be inculcated among the students. That's great, ma'am. Thank you, Sujitra,
Yeah.
ma'am. And with this up, we have taken a lot of time of all of yours. Thank you so much, everyone, for being in the session, and I'm highly obliged. Gurdeep, ma'am, Suchitra, ma'am, Raminda, ma'am, Pratima, ma'am, and Akshi, ma'am. We are very, very grateful that you spared up your time and came into this session. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure being
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, ma'am.